Why doesn't Britain build things anymore? I'm going to explain that in the time it takes me to build this. We used to build really big things in this country. The railways, the Forth Bridge, the NHS. Can you imagine trying to build some of that today? So what happened? Why did we stop? There are 5 big reasons, and the last one is the most important. The first is politicians' fault. Under Margaret Thatcher, the government pulled back from directly delivering things. We went from what can we build to what can we cut? Now, politicians have been saying for a long time that the country's broke, and that is kind of true, but we were even more broke in 1945 when we started building 200,000 council houses a year. In fact, we built entire towns, like the one I grew up in just outside of Glasgow. In 2023, we built just 7,000, which is partly because of reason number 2, the planning system. These are the rules that govern where and what you can build, so that you can't just build an incinerator next to a school. But over decades, it's become harder and harder to actually get things approved through the system. So instead of being a safeguard, it's become a bit of a brick wall. And if you make it really hard to do anything, then you can't exactly be surprised when nothing happens. Believe it or not, some politicians actually like that, because if you don't do anything, you don't get any bad headlines. But if there's one thing that I have learned in my year as an MP so far, it's that you're not really choosing whether you make everyone happy or not. You're kind of choosing who you're going to upset. The world isn't made by people sitting writing comments online. No offense if that's literally what you're doing this second. But it is made by people who take tough decisions and see them through. The iPhone wasn't built in a Twitter thread, so we just need to toughen up and get on with it. Otherwise, you end up with half-built railway lines, especially when you don't make it anyone's actual responsibility. If you mess up a big government project, there should be consequences. But we have a system where nobody really takes responsibility for long delays or failures. We account for lost money, but we don't account for lost time. And we have lost a lot of time in this country. And finally, there's no long-term vision. We've just had 14 years in the UK of the same party in government. And you can build a lot of things in 14 years, but they didn't. Take HS2. It was actually passed on by the last Labour government. In 2010, HS2 was full steam ahead. In 2019, they finally started building it. And then in 2021, the Leeds branch of the train was cancelled. And then in 2023, the Manchester part of the London to Manchester train was cancelled. So we end up with a £40 billion train line that goes from London to a suburb of Birmingham. Now, that's great if you live in Curzon Street in Birmingham, but it's not great if you live literally anywhere else. It sends a message that Britain doesn't commit. But there is hope, because for the first time in a very long time, Britain has a government that actually cares about those things. It's changing the planning system. I've already voted on it in Parliament. It's created a publicly owned energy company so that you and I have a stake in the future of our energy infrastructure. And we are going to build things. New houses, new wind turbines, new health centres, and even new bedside tables. So if you want to see how I want to get this country building again, then follow me.